Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, today we're doing a side-by-side comparison between the Galaxy Tab Pro 8.4 versus the Galaxy Note 8.0. Now, this is last year's models versus this year's model, and we're going to see which one really is better between the two, and did Samsung make a huge improvement year over year? Let's find out. Now, first of all, when it comes to look and feel, I feel this is very easy. The Note 8 was praised for a couple of things, but one thing was not the look and style of it. It was back in the days of like the S3 really in terms of how the style went. Very much so. It had the bump on the back, very shiny plastic, very fingerprint prone, and very wide bezels. Just wasn't never, I think in the entire year against everything that I did, it never won a look and feel category. However, the Tab Pro 8.4 is definitely a huge improvement. Very nice thin bezel on the side, very well presented, and just looks very nice. And it has that nice leather-like backing, which is a huge improvement from Samsung's past tablets. And even just the camera placement with the LED on the back is really nice. So for that purpose overall, yes, I would say the Tab Pro 8.4 is the much better when it comes to look and feel. Now, when we take a look at web browsing, the first thing we always look at is the screen quality. On the Note 8, we have an 8-inch screen with a 1280 by 800 pixels, which means it's only a pixels per inch of 189. However, on this side, we have the 8.4-inch screen at 2560 by 1600. So this is, again, one of the best pixels per inch in the industry right now for tablets at 359 pixels per inch. Definitely stands out among every tablet I've ever seen. It's just that kind of resolution on this small of a tablet is very impressive. So it definitely stands out in comparison. Over here, we also see a quick look at the weight as well as the camera and processor, which we'll go into later. Now let's check out the speed of the web browsing capability. Actually, the Note 8 goes to be a little bit faster. I'm curious on that actually too, because this has a lower resolution. It might actually be quicker to load the data. So we'll see. And this is a very heavy website. We always test it on simply for the fact that if it's a light website, then it'll happen both right away. And sometimes it's hard to tell. On a heavy website, we can really see which one's better. So the Note 8.4 finished first and the Tab Pro finished first. And the Note is still going. So this is a pretty big gap. We're probably at 15 seconds difference right now. And there we go. So a lot faster on here. And in terms of speed, both are fairly quick. And let's try pinch to zoom. Pinch to zoom actually seems to be a little bit better on there, but both are quick, very much so. And then let's do a double tap. Oops. Ah, dang it, that's gonna go. Okay, so in terms of web browsing, overall, this definitely loaded quicker, but in terms of the movement, they're both very comparable. Sometimes the Note 8 actually even beat the Tab Pro. Overall, though, I do kind of have to give it to the Note 8-inch just because of the clarity difference between the two. If you can see, you can read very easily on the left side where it's hard to struggle to on the right side, even if I zoom in a little bit more. Or let me zoom actually at this distance on both, just so you can see there really is a difference in terms of the clarity right here. And it's actually visually noticeable. So for web browsing, I would recommend the Tab Pro. Now, when it comes to sound quality, both speakers are placed at the bottom side, which, as you know, isn't my favorite position. I still believe they should be either stereo this way or on the left and right side towards the top side, just so when you can view them in landscape, you actually don't muffle them up, which these tend to be both muffled up. First, we're going to start with the Note 8, then we're going to go to the Tab Pro, and then back and forth.
Scream my name, the curtain goes down, I remain the same. my pops to pick me up, and he said he was proud. King shit with a beanie on instead of a crown. Yeah, counting all my blessings. Shout out to the Most High. Started from the bottom, now I'm sitting at the Most High. Cheapsies to the business.
So for the sound quality, these two are very similar actually. I'm going to have to call this a draw. I feel that the Tab Pro is slightly louder, but overall they're very similar and not too distinguishable enough to count a clear winner. So for that reason, I will call this one a draw. Now, when it comes to watching movies, you have an 8-inch screen versus an 8.4-inch screen. This is also where the screen size not only plays the quality, but also the ratio in terms of the 8.4 being a longer screen, so fuller screen, less black bars at the top, as well as the clarity difference. So let's play the same video and see how both turn out.
You need to see this.
Guys, you need to see this. You need to see this. You can do 4 things at once.
Wish my TV curved.
So hopefully you could see it, but definitely this is much more vivid, just in terms of brightness and also color output. This definitely stood out to me. It's also more neutral, so it's not oversaturated. And one thing this tablet does have is the adaptive display, which I do have on, so it corrects the colors to make them look more natural when you're watching a movie, and also more easier to see the blacks in comparison as well. When you're looking at a screen, all your blacks will actually be visible instead of kind of fade out like her hair right there. So when it comes to watching movies, I would say the Tab Pro 8.4 is going to be the winner. Now when it comes to the cameras, again, you have last year's model versus this year's model. So this year's model has a lot cleaner look to it. You know, you don't need to switch between photo and video anymore. You just tap whichever one you want. You have the modes in a very easy to find area. The whole thing looks a lot better in comparison. Now, when we go to the actual photos that we've taken with them, again, we see a difference between the two. So right here, we do have an 8 megapixel on here and a 5 megapixel on here. But really where we can see the difference is in the clarity. So when we zoom in, of course, the select and start button are just not as prevalent as they are on the Note 8. So it definitely just looks a bit sharper in comparison right there. And also just the smoothness of it overall just looks a bit better and brighter. Again, it just definitely handles color and brightness better on the Tab. Now when we go to the screen here, again, just better at handling light. When it comes to color, they're very similar, although again, this one does do a little bit more neutral colors compared to this one having a bit more vivid colors. And when it comes to the front face camera, we have a 1.3 versus a 2, and there's no yellow lights in this entire room. And yet I look very yellow on here, and I look more like my natural skin tone, a little bit white, washed out, but more closer to my natural skin tone here in comparison. So definitely much better at handling, again, lighting situations on the Tab Pro. When it comes to gaming, we always look at the processing power, which in this, it's really clear cut. You have just, again, this year's versus last year's. So this one is still a quad core, so they're 2 quad cores, but all quad cores are not created equal. This one is running at a lower speed in comparison to this one. It's an Exynos processor, which are decent, but they're definitely not at the level that the Snapdragon 800, which was the processor essentially of 2013, really did an amazing job. And especially the graphics card is a huge difference from the Mali 400 to the Adreno 330. So overall for gaming, you're gonna want to go with the Tab Pro 8.4. In terms of battery life of the two, I would easily give it to the Tab Pro 8.4 in comparison to the Note. Simply for the fact that the Note generally lasted around 6 to 7 hours nowadays, especially after using it for a long time period now. It definitely has dropped over the time, whereas the Tab Pro is definitely sticking with the closer to 10-hour mark, on average around 9 hours I would say. But you can definitely even get it to 11 hours with the power saving mode. So, and as you can see, you can even get it to a couple days worth if you're constantly using it. So overall, in my usage experience, definitely the Tab Pro is the far better when it comes to battery life. Now, when it comes to the extras on these tablets, it is more of a hardware versus software extra. On the Note 8, obviously we have the S Pen, which is a big miss from the Tab 8.4. I really wish this would have been a Note series, definitely one thing I'm missing from it. But at the same time, with the S Pen, I have gotten along without it, especially because I've purchased a stylus for this. It's very small as well. So for the most part, I haven't missed it as much as I would thought, especially because when you think of the S Pen at this series. This series, we didn't have the, one-click air command, which has been dramatically better. We had just the tap for the memos, and we had the up swipe for the quick commands. It wasn't as functional as on the Note 3 per se. And on the Tab Pro, we have the software side, which the new 8 Handcom Office is dramatically better. It is better than every Office suite I've ever seen on a mobile edition. It really is second only to Office in comparison to how well done it is. And it just really is seamless in comparison. If you're an Office user, you will know how to use it very easily. I would say it's far better than, say, like Numbers and Pages and all of the stuff that iOS has to offer. It's really, really well done. So, and you have things like Remote PC, WebEx, and even SideSync to the new phones that Samsung will come out with. So overall, for software versus hardware, I'm going to call this a draw because it depends on the user in which feature they would like more for the extras category. Now, when we are going to the price point, we do have a difference here, of course. So right here we have a $329 price point on the Note 8 versus a $399 price point on the Tab Pro 8.4. However, when it comes to these two, are they both offering essentially the same thing? Yes, essentially you are getting everything on the Note 8 that has, for the most part, on the Tab Pro. Although, obviously there's differences in the specs. For the essential user, you are getting essentially the same thing for lower cost. So for that reason, the better bang for the buck would be the Note 8.0. All right, let's tally them up and see who won. When it comes to look and feel, the Tab Pro 8.4 just has it. It's just so much of a better look and feel to the tablet. When it comes to web browsing, it's a slight edge to the Tab Pro, just not only because it load the page a lot quicker, but you definitely had a better quality in text, and that's where the pixels per inch really stands out. When it comes to the music, very similar. I did have a slight better version of that song on the Tab Pro, it seemed like, when listening to them both at the same time, but overall it really is just too close to tell. The movie quality is definitely going to be better on the Tab Pro, simply for not only is the screen bigger, it's a better aspect ratio for the screen, and finally you have just the quality difference in brightness and color contrast. The camera quality is also going to go to the Tab Pro, just better, not only more megapixels, nicer interface, better looking and updated interface, and just takes better shots. Gaming is definitely going to be on the Tab Pro. It's one of the best gaming tablets for under the 10-inch market. Really just does a great job with that size. Battery life is also going to go to the Tab Pro, generally lasting around 2 to 3 hours longer compared to the Note 8. Just definitely has held the battery life for a much longer time in comparison. On the extras category, it's really going to depend between about the hardware and software. The hardware goes to the Note 8 for having the S Pen. However, the software is definitely on the Tab Pro side with the amazing new Handcom Office that it has, as well as other softwares to boot. In terms of the price, it's going to be the better bang for the buck, really going to the Note 8. Just obviously $70 cheaper, and for the basic user, you essentially get the same thing. Now, when we tie them all up, it is clear that the Tab Pro 8.4 is a better version year over year on Samsung's lineup. So if you want to get a new tablet, you really are better off with the Tab Pro 8.4. However, if you do want to save money and you just want to use for very basic usage, the Note 8 is still a great buy. Hopefully you like this review, side-by-side comparison, and if you have any questions on it, feel free to ask. Thank you for watching. This has been RCKY, the Android Guy.